Super League is a leader in payable media trusted by global brands to reach and activate gaming audiences through payable ads and gamified content. With me is Matt Edelman, the CEO, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So let's talk about the company and what it is you're doing and how dominant play is becoming in modern culture.
Sure. So Super League has been around for about 10 years. I've been at the company for 8 years, but took over as the CEO in April.
Okay.
Our focus is using and harnessing the power of play to help drive brand growth and performance across multiple channels. And it has a lot to do with the dominance of play, as you pointed out, in our culture.
Well, for sure. And there's a lot of eyeballs there. And that's ultimately what you're looking for when you're a marketer, right?
You know, it's even more than eyeballs. We did our own research and we realized that there are 5 billion people in the world who play. Gaming represents the largest segment at about 3.5 billion. But when you think about amusement parks, community and professional sports, even gambling, escape rooms, board games, there are 8 billion hours spent globally per day playing. And that equates to about 3 trillion hours per year. It is one of the most incredible dominant forms of media and entertainment.
Are you involved in all of those?
We focus on video games and the love of play from the 80% of consumers who do play video games in one form or another.
So how are you helping brands approach these potential customers?
The real opportunity for brands is to use the lens of play across all of their marketing activities. It's not just about reaching people who play while they are inside of a video game.
Okay.
It's about the love of play and the cultural power of play that influences people, whether they're watching videos, listening to podcasts, attending events, or playing inside of a video game platform. So we really sit at that strategic level where we help brands and CMOs and their agencies think about the lens of play across all marketing channels. Most of the activation occurs inside gaming platforms.
Inside. Okay. Yeah. Kind of walk me through that. When you're meeting with the CMO, I mean, what do you do? How do you decide where they can place their ads and where they spend their marketing money?
It all starts with their objectives. So brands have a series of things they think about, from awareness to engagement to conversion. They're looking to reach a certain demographic, whether that's age or geo-based. And we look at those objectives. We bring them a number of insights based on data that we access, and then help design a program based on where those consumers are most likely to be spending time and most likely to be responsive to the creative that we'll design based on those insights and their brand messaging.
So what do you find with your research then? Are there more young men playing games, maybe that marketers can't reach through TV or something like that?
Well, there's certainly more people playing games among the younger generations than people who are watching television.
I have 2 teenagers, so
You get it. The average daily time spent by a member of Gen Z is higher on gaming platforms than on social media. And in fact, the amount of social media engagement is declining among younger people. Real-time communication is happening inside gaming platforms and associated apps like Discord. Social is really about asynchronous sharing of content. So if a brand wants to connect to the conversations and the real-time energy that is occurring within communities, gaming is the #1 place to be.
Mm-hmm. And I think of social media, they kind of track you and what you're doing and what you're searching for. Does gaming do something similar to that?
I mean, games are designed to get you to play more. And so they look at your behavior and they're able to put the next gameplay loop in front of you as they update their game, but they're not serving you specifically with content that is based on your past interests or consumption.
Yeah.
The game has to take you on an adventure and give you agency to create that narrative based on your play. That's actually one of the most powerful parts of play, is that it's personal and emotionally resonant based on choices that you make.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like kind of socialness in the game where you're playing with your friends or even people you don't know sometimes. So
You're playing with your friends, you're keeping in touch with friends after you leave high school, you're meeting strangers who become friends. The average age of the US gamer is 36. So they've already been playing for decades and they've turned this, childhood or teen behavior into a multi-generational passion point that is part of their daily content consumption and a major form of entertainment.
sure. And just connection with other people. So now you've called native playables the future of interactive media. So what makes the format compelling for brands and for players?
So playable media in general is exciting because it gives you as a consumer a chance to engage with an ad in an active way. And it's something that you will participate in as opposed to passively watch and likely be distracted while you are experiencing. So playable is a form of connection to the content that is coming to you in the form of an ad. Our native playables are run inside mobile games. And so when you're moving from one level to the next in a mobile game, we'll put an ad in front of you that matches the gameplay of the game you're already playing. So if you're playing a match 3 game like Candy Crush and then you see an ad, it will be a match 3 ad that is in sync with the video ad from that brand that runs in the top third of the screen. So now you're actually connecting to the ad and you are experiencing the brand messaging through gameplay in a playable piece of media, as opposed to a video that you really just can't wait to end.
Yeah. Okay. And then what about connected TVs? Are you doing anything with that? And where do you see that going?
So going back to sort of the idea that the lens of play is something CMOs really need to be thinking about across marketing channels, given the propensity of every audience to engage in play in one form or another. Connected TV ads can be activated by a television remote to bring up an interactive content experience. And we have a partner who activates that content experience. And inside of it, we have more than 40 game engines that we can use to make that brand come alive through gamified content that is controllable through your television remote. And it allows you to connect with the brand at an entirely different level than just watching a 15-second or 30-second ad that you, again, are likely waiting to end so that you can get back to your program.
Right. You just want to skip if you can.
That's right.
So
That's right.
where do you see, what are you seeing in digital spending and where do you see that going? Becoming more budgets? Is that what brands are looking for? Increasing parts of their budgets?
Well, digital continues to grow as a form of advertising. And of course, between Meta and Google and Amazon, you're starting to see, just a massive amount of spend across digital platforms that's connected largely to performance marketing. But even more than that, there's a shift that's coming in the C-suite. So the average incoming age of a CEO for US companies is 56. CMOs are generally 5 to 10 years younger. That means that CEOs and CMOs are Generation X. Generation X did not grow up multiplayer gaming. When we wanted to play games with our friends, we had to go to each other's houses. That's not what happened for millennials. Millennials, when they were teenagers, were introduced to multiplayer online games. When millennials start taking over the control of marketing budgets, they will begin to buy more of what they know. Gen X doesn't know community-based gaming environments. Millennials do. And we expect a shift of dollars within digital and linear into gaming platforms and really to reflect the cultural influence of play as those budgets get deployed.
Now, we heard a lot about the metaverse a few years ago. Phygital was a term. Do you deal in that? Is there growth in that area, or is this just more like straight headsets and watching a game, playing a game with somebody?
Well, so it's interesting. I'll talk about it first from the standpoint of what happens if you walk into a room of 10 people and you ask who are gamers. You will get 2 to 3 people to raise their hand, and those are the people who have the headsets and the gaming rigs and sit in their gaming chairs.
Yeah.
And the rest of the people won't raise their hand until you ask, well, who plays Wordle and Candy Crush? And then you'll get another 6 or 7 people to raise their hand. And now you're talking to 80, 90% of the representative population. It's just they don't all identify as gamers. And so when you think about something like the metaverse or the connection between physical and digital, if you ignore the terms and you really think about the behavior, so many people are engaged with digital experiences that are interactive, and more of that love of play finds its way into physical experiences again, whether it's escape rooms or virtual reality centers or experiential malls, even amusement parks, and the intersection of an integration of technology and gamification as you go through the amusement park to earn rewards. Play is a deep love for just about everybody in the world.
Yeah. So as you look for the next 1 to 2 years, what do you see for the company and then also for the industry?
For Super League, we're really at the epicenter of this emerging growth where play is starting to show itself across all forms of media and entertainment. Some of the biggest entertainment properties are now based on video game franchises. And it's really reflective of the power of interactive entertainment among audiences of every age. And so for us, we couldn't be more excited. We have the opportunity to help brands activate across all of the channels where they spend marketing dollars, understanding the cultural power of play and the mental state of play and its importance. So we see a very exciting growth trajectory ahead. And part of the reason is because we're not just in gaming platforms. It's being in mobile video and connected TV and understanding what play can mean in advertising on TikTok. Those are important areas for us, and they will continue to be. The industry at large is poised for exciting growth. The fastest segment of growth in gaming, which is already bigger than the film and music industries combined and bigger than video streaming. The fastest segment is social gaming, and it's dominated by Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft, Discord. Meta is investing. We think TikTok will bring gaming to the US the way that they've been successful in other markets. And so we see gaming continuing to become an increasing portion of daily content consumption, really for every demographic. Right now, 96% of Generation Alpha, 94% of Gen Z, 88% of millennials, and even 60% of Gen X all play video games. For Gen Z, video game content represents 1/3 of their video consumption diet. And so there's nothing but, hockey stick growth in terms of, daily time spent in the future.
Yeah. Well, very interesting, Matt. Thank you for coming and share your insights about the industry with us.
Thank you so much for having me.